Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Jim Ballidis. He is a CEO mentor, Wall Street Journal best-selling author, lawyer, and entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you, AJ. How are you?
I'm very good, Jim. You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about how one can make a compelling business vision. So, Jim, first thing I want to understand, in today's time, people hardly talk about vision. And you are talking a lot about vision. You have a book coming in a couple of months. So I want to understand, what is vision in today's time? Why are you talking about so much about vision when others are not? Those who should talk about, they are not.
I think it's time for an evolution in the way that we create visions. How many of you in your audience have created a vision and it's just in a drawer someplace? You don't even talk about it. It's not something you share often. What I found over the course of a couple of years of mentoring CEOs is that if you really get excited about your vision, and if everybody's talking about it, your business multiplies. It just becomes more and more effective, and we saw tremendous results. So I felt like I needed to get that word out and share it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how is this word changing? The vision earlier on used to be very much upfront, and now people have forgotten about vision. Companies forget about it. I want to understand, because you mentor a lot of CEOs. Why has this happened? Is it about the pressure on CEOs? But what about the people who have founded that company? Why have they forgotten? So I want to understand, in that backdrop, we almost we have not even come out of the great resignation. Quiet quitting is going on. There is so much of talk about toxicity in workplaces. So what is the vision? Is it the vision about profit, or is it the vision about making it a wonderful value creating place for everyone?
That's a great question and a great frame, because we are in a place where I think globally we are lacking people that have vision. We're mostly worried about how we're going to get things done, and nobody seems to be spending the time that they need on where we're going. So what happened is, in my opinion, is there was a lot of emphasis on find my why. Why am I running this company? Why do I want to create this company? Why would people want to do business with me? And truthfully, nobody else cares about your why. And so what would happen is that my why would sit in a drawer or sit on a wall, and we just stopped talking about it because we didn't know where to go from there. It was a great stepping stone from where we were before, but I don't think it's gotten us where we need to go. And so what happened is business owners would just say, well, I have a vision. It's to serve my client, for instance, to the best possible way, improve their experience, have an amazing experience for my client. But see, nobody else besides your client cares about that vision. And what's even more interesting in my thought process here is that your client kind of expects to be cared for, don't they? And so it's not really a vision. So what I advocate is three components to a compelling vision. You have to have these in my view. First, it's really powerful if the vision is bigger than you and bigger than your client. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a social cause attached to it, although there's nothing wrong with that. That's not what necessarily what the vision is. The vision is your values, what you think is important that other people share. The second element, I think, is this collaboration. We as entrepreneurs, we sit in our room and we try and figure this stuff out ourselves, and then we put it upon our employees. Okay, this is the vision. Now go and advocate it. And in many instances, the employee doesn't even realize what the vision is, or it doesn't resonate with them. And so how is it that they can possibly advocate it when it doesn't resonate with them? And then the third is when we develop this collaboration and this vision, and it's bigger than us, we want to share it out to the world in everything that we do. And you should be comfortable when you're talking about a vision that people know you because of that vision. When you look at the visioneers in the world, like, think about Branson and Apple, Steve Jobs, and these people, we know what they stood for. And you can know what people can know what you stand for. And so if you have these three components, we get far further down the road than just, okay, well, this is why I'm doing my business. And people, it acts like a magnet. It starts to draw people to you because they're attracted to the vision of where you're going and what you want to do, and they're willing to support you. And when you implement those strategies in your daily business, it starts to just materialize in the formation of much more business for you, more you're feeling more satisfied, and your employees love working there. So employee problems are resolved with vision. Profitability is resolved with vision. And in my opinion, also your happiness as a business owner or as a CEO, directly tied to vision that you stand for, is solved too. So I'm a big proponent of vision.
Absolutely. If absolutely when I am, but you talk, people listen. If I talk, nobody will listen. And that is why you are the master for today. So that you also you mentor a lot of businesses, CEOs. So I want to understand from you, Jim, is that who is this vision for? Is it for the founders? Is it for the CEO? Is it for the employees? Is it for the customer? Let's look at it. A lot of founders look at selling of their company. So many a times you forget about the vision. The CEO is always looking at creating a position, larger than life position, either through LinkedIn or as a thought leader. So who has the time for this vision? Thirdly, the employees, everyone, there is this hire and fire thing happening, so they don't get that much of attachment to the company. Is that vision for that employee? And the last is that everything exists for the customer, but the customer is the one you are not interested in. He is trying to get through to the customer care, but the customer care, you have put many bots there, and the customer is forgotten. So I want to understand through you, who is this vision for? How do you tell these people what this vision should be about and who this vision should be? Or is it something that looks good on the walls of the company so that someone visits, you can talk great things about your company?
Great questions. And so the vision should be for not just you as the owner or founder of the company, and not just for your employees, but for anybody that comes in contact with it. It's a value you have. It's an internal dialogue that other people recognize they want as well. And so therefore they're willing to be curious about your vision and curious about supporting it. So I'll give you an example of a person I met 2 or 3 years ago. The vision was simple: no children should be without fresh drinking water in the world. Now that's an incredible vision, and I'm going to talk for a moment about the vision killer. But before I do that, you can see that that is impactful for the employees who are working. It is impactful for the founder, because that's his passion in making sure that that happens. And there are a lot of people in the world that would support that vision. Now the question is how. And so if I say, well, I want to feed the world, you have a lot of people go, yeah, I've heard that before. How are you going to do that? So we have to face, and as part of the process, we have to face the vision killer. The vision killer is the customer, the employee, even the COOs, sometimes the accountancy, the CPAs, the people that are controlling the finances. They all want to protect us in profitability and otherwise. And yet what they end up doing is they crush the vision if it's not properly created. So we have to advocate against vision killing when we're creating the vision. Let me explain to you what I found over the course of time. And I'm going to tell a little story about my personal vision if I have time for you. But
Yeah.
ultimately, here's what a vision killer focuses on, and this is crucial. Every vision killing statement is on how to get it accomplished, not on the creation of the vision. So when we're confronted by people who say, hey, well, how do you do this? What we want to encourage them on our vision team is, listen, that sounds like an execution issue. Let's still work on the vision first. Because sometimes when we have a clear vision and it becomes more clear and we're collaborating with more people, the how solves itself. So if I had a situation where I said, hey, I want to feed the world, and you said, well, how are you going to do that? I said, well, don't vision kill with me because Elon Musk and I are working on this and he's offered $1 billion. Maybe we can get some other people involved. You would realize that my vision is coming true and you wouldn't be vision killing it. We need to be thinking this way. And it's really, really difficult to set aside our history. That is, from the time we were children, our parents wanted to protect us. And so they would tell us, well, don't reach too high. Don't go too big. Don't try and do something that may cause you to fail or embarrass you. It takes courage. And the courage is to set that vision beforehand and then strive toward it. And it may be a vision that takes you a lifetime to complete. It doesn't matter. The point is you stand for it. It's a value to you, value to others, and people are helping you, excited about helping you to achieve that vision. So that's kind of how we need to do it. Let me tell this story if I can, AJ.
Yes,
There was a
yes,
young
please.
woman named Katerina. She was born in Russia in the 90s. And in the 90s, Russia was going through a transformation of its political environment. And as a result of that, there was very great uncertainty. And so in Russia, they had a threefold increase in the number of children given up for adoption. And at the same time, they had a reduction of 50% of the number of children that were adopted because of this uncertainty. Katerina was born into this environment and she was given up for adoption. And so her chances, her likelihood of success in getting adopted was pretty poor. As it turned out, she was confined to what was called a laying down bedroom. And this was a place not as a punishment, but because she was born with no bones in her feet and in her lower limbs, she had to be confined to a bed. And there are a number of people that would be confined this way. So her odds of success even went lower. Fortunately, she was adopted by a Baltimore couple, and she went into a normal household. They had surgery for her legs. They gave her prosthesis, and the story ends very well right there, if that were the story. But that's not. She began to swim. Without any prosthesis, she began to swim, and she became very fast at swimming. And over the course of her next 6 or 7 years, from 12 to 18, she became an elite swimmer within the top 3% of the world. Quite an accomplishment. And she had won all these awards. Here is the vision that I want you all to hear in this story. She said in her last races, in her last campaign, if you will, to achieve this great result of swimming so fast, that she said, I used to swim because I wanted to show people I could do it. She said, recently, I've changed my mindset. I want to swim because I want to prove to others that they can do it. When we think of that vision for a minute, it's an amazing vision at that moment. But here's the challenge I want you to accept in your courage, in your journey. Imagine if at 12, when she first started swimming, she had that vision bigger than her. Imagine the support she would have received. Imagine the people going through her trials and her successes, growing with her, joining her in her quest, maybe even supporting it. That's vision. That's the courage of having a vision bigger than you, bigger than your customer, and then succeeding in it. If we do that in our business, we see catapulting results. Success becomes easy. And that's what I'm encouraging.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me ask you from the point of startups. a lot of, forget about the bigger companies that will become a bit controversial. And because many a times they come out with their vision almost like a political statement, and they have been coming doing that again and again. They have the wherewithal to continue with that, and less people, very few people have that ability to question them. Let's move on to the pragmatic side of where people can actually come down to creating good vision for their a compelling vision for their companies. In terms of, there are millions of startups getting started every day. A lot of times these people want to solve the problem pain of the world. They come out with a big vision, a larger than life vision in some time, and people do trust them, maybe because of the solutions they have offered and less because of the things that they are talking. In some time, in the backdrop, they are looking for more investors, want to look for more money for themselves, build a unicorn. And in some time, you will see that instead of talking about those, that big words, those big words in that vision document is lost. They have sold that company, they have sold, and the new company has closed that company. What happens to a vision like this? Should people trust these founders later on? Why is it then? How should they plan out? A practical part of life is also that companies, they get sold. A practical life or part of life is that you create a company to become rich, to sell it. How do they calibrate the realities of life with that authenticity and deliver it to the people around them, or to their customers, or to the world?
I heard two questions in that. I'm going to answer the first one and then the second one. The first question is pragmatically, does this work? Let me tell you about a painting contractor. He did about $700,000 a year. He constantly had a problem with employees. He would hire employees, they were very seasonal. At the end of the season, they would go and do something else. Oftentimes, he would have his competitors hiring them because their competitor had a bigger job, and they would offer their employee a lot more money for a short period of time, and the person would go and then maybe come back, maybe not. So he had this cycle of about the consistency that you would expect. He had more work than he could use at times, but he didn't have anybody to do it. And then at other times, he had drops off in work because of he didn't do his advertising. We changed all that with vision. This is a painting contractor. What he did was he started advocating that, listen, I'm going to create a training program for my employees to better their lives, the painters. I'm going to give them a career rather than a temporary job. I'm going to show them that they're meaningful, that is, that they can feel like pride in what they do. And I'm going to share that with the customer, that you're getting people that I've had with me for years because they are, in fact, trained, and they're committed to, and they know how to do a good job, and they know the customer, and they know the customer's experience. He doubled his revenue in a year. Doubled when he implemented
Absolutely.
that strategy. That's the power of the vision. And he had gone 6 years without an increase in revenue. That's one example of, I don't know, 30 or 40 CEOs I personally mentored on this. And so what we want to do is we want to be thinking pragmatically that this works and give it all of us. It's not about fancy words. It's about resonating with the people that you serve, having them appreciate it and saying, you know what, I want to do business with you because of that, not because of the big company political statement. Or as I said before, oh, well, every dollar we'll donate a dollar to humanitarian issues. That's a good vision if you choose to do so, but it doesn't have to be that, as that example shows. The second question that you asked, which I think is very insightful, is okay, so somebody takes our company and then the vision goes away. Well, the truth is, those I've seen it. I've been a part of it. I've watched it happen. Those companies that come in and change the vision of a company that's really strong fail. They take that company and they drive it in the ground. The founder, the visionary, usually ends up either taking the company back and restoring it, or they start something new to carry on that vision, because the person that took it over didn't abide by or see that vision, or they didn't think it was valuable enough. And we have lots of examples. I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but clearly there's plenty of examples of that kind of thing. The point is, as we are continuing to become more sophisticated in our business acumen, it does us no good to not to be hidden behind big words and things that have no meaning for us. If we want to be unique and stand out and have success, it's through vision. And people get excited about it when they hear it because nobody's doing it. As you said earlier in the discussion, we're in a place right now where people are really visionless. As a country, as a nation, as a world, I feel like there are so many fractures. Nobody's coming in and saying, why don't we collaborate on a huge vision? So not only am I advocating for this for business, and that's my avatar, that's my client, but I'm advocating it for the world.
Absolutely, advocating it for the world. So those people who are not perhaps understanding, doubling their profits, tripling their profits, let's talk about the danger to their existence. You talk about that AI will make your company obsolete without a vision. Maybe this will hold more understanding for them. Why do you say so about this? And when they hear this, should they go and type into chat gpt some vision quickly and paste it on their walls? What should they understand out of this particular statement of yours?
AI is a wonderful thing. It's bringing opportunity to us. AI can create something, redo something, uh, develop something that already exists and make it better, quicker, faster than the human can. It's just it can. It writes faster than we can even write. It takes these algorithms and does these things for the way that we want to create things. Here's the one distinction, though: AI cannot create from nothingness. If you ask AI a question that it's never heard of, it will not have an answer for you that makes any sense. It's called an illusion. It gives you an answer that it thinks you want, but it doesn't exist. If you went in and you typed in my principles that I've shared today into AI, it will go to the old vision protocol that's been in place for the last 10 years. It won't go to what I'm talking about because it hasn't been printed yet. It hasn't been disseminated yet. It cannot create from nothing. Therefore, as individuals, where are we going to be useful in the world in 10, 20 years? It's not going to be in doing things better. It's going to be in creating things new and different, ways in which we haven't thought of how to make things amazing and different and incredibly successful. So as you're a business owner, recognize that soon the things that you rely upon that you do to make things better is going to become AI developed. And so therefore you should be even playing more in vision. Because if you don't, AI will take over your business anyway. It'll just other competitors will do what you're doing as good, and you don't stand out.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is where your new book comes in. There is a lot of learning needed on this to understand all this thing about vision, and that is where your new book will help in terms of so that people. So you talk your latest book, Vision Maker: 3 Weeks to Creating a Compelling Directive. Tell us a bit about this book. Who is this book for, and when is this book coming out, so that people can learn from that?
I hope to have the book out in December or early January of 2024. The book, I recognized that during the process of working with CEOs, there was a method, a process that we could go through that would increase the likelihood of success in developing your vision. And so I took the time. I did not want to write another book. It's a lot of work, and I didn't want to do it. But I had to, AJ. I had to. I couldn't. It's part of who I am, I guess. I had to
Right.
do it. So I wrote this book, and what I did was I have a 3-week process that I take you through with me. And we share what I would share with you if you were a CEO and I was helping you with your vision. And as you go through it, there's stages that we need to address, things that we need to talk in our head and around us, with talk out with people. And over that course of that 3 years, 3 weeks, you develop this vision that you want for your company and then also for you personally. The book is written for business owners because that's who I serve, but the concepts are available to anybody who is looking to try and improve what it is that they stand for, what they want to look for, and how do they want to put their energy into the world. And so I advocate anybody can buy the book. In fact, I would love for other people to take it in other verticals and apply the principles. That would be, to me, a great outcome for this book. But I wrote it primarily for the business owner. And when I release it, if your listeners are interested, they can go to visionkiller.com. So visionkiller.com, and they can sign up for a pre-launch notice. And when I launch it, I will send them an email and say the book's out, and I'll even give them a discount.
Wonderful, wonderful. And those people who want to learn directly from you, connect with you professionally, what's the best way for them to do so?
If they go to my website, Vision, it's Vision, sorry, vision-maker.net. They can take a 15-minute free conference with me, and I'll sit down with them if they have a business, and we'll talk about their vision. And if they're interested at that point, then we can talk about a further relationship. Right now, I am limiting the number of people that I'm communicating with because I have such an important directive here to get this book out and to get people hearing about it, going on to podcasts, etc. But I will fit people in if they ask me. And of course, if you really would like to work on a great vision, I'd be glad to help you that way.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Oh, thank you, AJ. I really appreciate you helping me to get my vision out. Let's